Hi, I'm Suzanne Wilson. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for DentalMonitoring. In this podcast, we are going to talk about time and space and what's new with the patient experience.
OrthoMarketing.com, 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello everybody in podcast land. Welcome back. This is Dean Steinman from Ortho Marketing, and here we are with another awesome, super fantabulous podcast for you. I hope everybody has had a great summer. It's almost Labor Day, if you can believe it or not. 2023, the summer flew by. And, we're excited to really have a great end of this year. It's been a wacky year. But some good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, I have a really awesome, super guest with me today. I have Suzanne Wilson, who is the Chief Marketing Officer over at DentalMonitoring. And those of you who have heard my podcasts in the past have heard other upper echelons, great people from DM join me, and they're a great company. I've used them. I know many of my clients use them, and they're game changers. And I'm really excited to have them back on. Those practices out there that are not using dental monitoring, you gotta jump on board, guys. This is a technology in a program that's a game changer for you and the consumer. So with that said, and that great intro I just gave you, Suzanne, how are you today?
I am great, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think we're done. I think you did it.
Hey, have a good day. Drop the mic. I love it. Well, thanks so much again. We're welcome. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the industry. I know, DM has had a great journey, and they are, as I mentioned, a game changer. When I was Invisalign, my Dr. Glazer used it. It was an incredible program. I'm a busy guy, and the fact that I saw him and I love him, saw him twice in almost 2 years, is incredible. And I got my teeth straight and beautiful thanks to him and the program. So, now let's talk a little bit about dental monitoring and the industry and technology. So tell us a little bit of what dental monitoring is doing now and helping orthodontics in today's world.
I would love to. You mentioned the reduction in appointments. I think that's such a big piece. And what that really translates to for everyone involved, if we talk about the doctor, chairside, patient, maybe patient's parent, we're talking about saving time. I think that's one of the biggest things, and time is very precious these days. I mean, I think, some people might say time is money, but that's really a big way that we help practices. And depending on what's happening in the market, time translates to various different things. Maybe that gives you more space to open up capacity in your practice for growth. Maybe it gives you more time with your family. Maybe it helps you not have to fill a position if someone left. There's so many different things where time becomes a benefit to the practice. And then as you, pointed out, and thank you for saying so, for patients, it's just a differentiator, increasing the convenience, increasing the connection of care using DM, but not having to physically have people drive, even if it's a few blocks across town, get off work, get kids out of school. That benefit in time is huge. And that's honestly only one of the ways DM is helping practices, the patient experience, being able to communicate, triaging little pokey wires, things like that occur that sometimes patients will want to come in or they'll show up, and you've got to accommodate because, we're a service industry. That's what we do. It can really help in that operational side, but also just making patients feel more cared for and more connected to the practice.
It really is. And I've had several conversations in the past, and when I talked to a few clients about it and I try to introduce them to it, they're like, well, I want them to see me more. I'm like very hands-on. And you came up with a brilliant, response to that they're actually being seen more and they're being treated more. They're being treated a lot more than when they are actually coming into the office, and all it is using the newest technologies. So let's kind of touch on that a bit. So as I said, a lot of people are still old school, and they want they want patients to come in. They feel like they're doing a disservice by not seeing them, but walk them through, educate them on the new world of seeing people, and how do you see them without them in front of you, and how you see them more and get better results without them being in front of you.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we don't have that much time because I could really go deep on this one. So help keep me high level. Because I think there's a number of ways this elevates what we're doing in the industry. And I'm really excited to be a part of it and supporting orthodontists and patients in this endeavor. First and foremost, DM is set up with customized protocols. So the way the doctor treats, wants to see patients, wants to engage, all that's set up in the front. So you essentially set up an AI assistant, if you will, to help manage. So you're spending less time, but increasing eyeballs, increasing what you're seeing, what's happening with the patient. It's an empowerment opportunity for somebody within your team as well. So there's more people taking care of these patients, right? On the patient side of things, you're increasing compliance. Okay, I'm now kind of checking in with you on a weekly basis. You have an opportunity to use AI to remind me to wear my rubber bands, or am I brushing well enough? Am I making sure I'm, getting back? As we know, that can become inflamed and cause issues and pain and that kind of thing. So as a patient, I'm more engaged. I'm more involved in my treatment. It's such an advantage in that regard. And then the last thing I'll say is, how long have we had this business model in orthodontics of really working 3-4 days a week? We like to work 7 to 4. We don't want to work Friday, Saturdays, what have you. I respect it. I love it. If I had a bigger brain and could start life over again, I think I'd want to be an orthodontist. But thinking about it in today's world, a lot of families, both parents are working. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing for society. That's a great thing for families. But man, it's hard sometimes to get to your appointments and take your kids to all their games and dance and orthodontic appointments and doctor and so on and so forth. So seeing it through that lens, knowing why we entered this field to take care of people, straighten teeth, really improve lives forever. I mean, it touches my heart. I love being part of this industry. We kind of need to take a look at that model. We need to think about how to connect. We need to think about how things have changed in the last couple of decades and how we can still maintain that great kind of work-life balance as an orthodontic practice, but still connect with people and give them also something that is easier for their lifestyle.
You mentioned a very important word that is probably was the biggest fear in people, and that's change. So, and I've used the term in almost every podcast I do, and this is from the book Moneyball and the movie Moneyball, is adapt or die. And if you don't adapt any business, you die. Okay, plain and simple, you're left behind. So obviously technology is a big part of it, and you guys are on the forefront of that. And, for November of 2022, nobody even heard of ChatGPT because it didn't exist. Just think about it, how quick it's been in everybody's mind and forefront for only 9 months now. But it's out there. And so AI is a huge game changer. So talk a little bit about the dental monitoring and the technology, and how do you see this in the future for orthodontics? Because AI is changing so much, marketing is changing so much, technology is changing so much. Everybody has to adapt. When I was at the Invisalign Summit, several months back, their theme was digital transformation. Transform your practice to digital. Adapt or die. Okay, so talk a little bit about how you see. Let's put your rose-colored glasses on, look into the future, and what do you see is the technology in orthodontics in, let's not go that far out, but a year or two?
Yeah, it's been really cool in my viewpoint to see this rise of interest in AI and ChatGPT. It's all over the internet. I'm sure everybody's read the articles, but it's really not new. And that's, I think, what's quite fascinating is it's not new. What we've done is figure out a space for it in a new way. And I think, kind of going back to what I was saying before, the technology opens time and space. And that is broad and conceptual, and I know it. And I want people to think about that, because those concepts are kind of everything. Let's not go quantum physics. I won't go that nerdy. I'm not qualified. But if we think about the world we live in and the adaptations that need to occur, like, this is where the forefront begins. This is where creativity goes. It's exciting to think about how automation can play a part in taking away the things that we can program, and what we can then do with our creativity, with our healthcare, with improving patient experience with that available time now. This goes back a little bit to business school. One of the things we're taught in business school is delegate everything you can't do yourself, right? And I mean, yeah, easier said than done and blah, blah, blah. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But I think what that means is, like, if a quick patient reminder, like, do I need to have a team member dedicating, 8 hours a week to these patient reminders and follow-ups and that kind of thing? Can I automate that? And my team member can now spend their time doing some marketing or having a better connection with our patient's chair side, what have you, right? And really using technology to open up time and space to do more, to do something different, to be creative. I think that's where AI is taking us, not only in healthcare, but in a ton of different industries in marketing.
I agree, and that's been the biggest change from my company is the implementations, is the automation. Practices are not open 2/3 of the day. They're only open really 8 hours a day, but we're in a 24/7 world. So if somebody wants to call up and make a reservation or look for a consult at 7 a.m, you're not answering your phone. At 6, 7 at night, you're not there. And so you need to automate it, and then you need to be able to follow up with people if you can't reach them. And, from a marketing perspective, the first practice that has a meaningful two-way communication with somebody is an 85% chance of getting them in. But
right.
If the biggest hole in the practice is the staff, because they don't have the bandwidth or the time or the resources or the technology to follow up and keep it going. So automation is huge. How does that work in DM as far as taking the staff and the doctor out of the equation and making their life easier?
I mean, I wouldn't say take them out of the equation. I would say they're part of the equation design, right? They design what that equation would look like, and then, set it and forget it.
Okay.
Not really, right?
He's hands-on, right? They're not driving the ship. It's almost self-driving, but they have to make sure at least they're pointing the right way.
Yeah, exactly. So then what you're getting is the benefit of greater connection, better care, but in less time. I mean, that to me is kind of where the magic is.
Sure.
And eyeballs. I mean, that's the thing is, like, when you look at these pictures that are coming in, these scans that are coming in on a weekly basis, your AI is helping you, but you yourself as the clinician or, the chairside staff has the opportunity to see what's going on for these patients. And is there something we need to handle to make sure this treatment stays on track? Not only for the best quality of care, but this saves chair time. There's an operational efficiency component. If we're not having a wire that's disengaged that we didn't see for 12 weeks and now they came in and, you've got this lower bicuspid that hasn't rotated at all. So you've got to manage that for your next 12 weeks. There's that component too. I mean, there's so many different things that the AI can help with and showcase, and without taking up more time.
It's incredible. As I said, I only saw my doctor 2-3 times in that, and from a business perspective, you're getting paid, doc, no matter what. When they sign up, if you're seeing them 3 times or 30 times, you're getting paid. So wouldn't it be better to see them 3-4 times, have that chair space available for new patients, and giving potentially even better results? Let's take a quick tangent here and talk about the whole entire industry in 2023. I I read something just recently, just last week, I think it was. I forget what the source is, but across the board, the whole entire orthodontic industry is down 12% this year, is what as I read. And that's because for the economy. It's because the amount of competition for orthodontists. 3, 4, 5 years ago, you have to do a search for Invisalign near me, orthodontist in your town, and it was you and 2 or 3 people. Now you've got all these companies that are marketing directly to you. You've got GPs. You've got a lot of different noise coming in. So a lot of practices are down, so they can't compare from previous years. So, based upon your background in marketing consulting, what advice would you give a practice who sees their numbers down, and what could they do to potentially combat this? Because for Q4 this year and for 2024.
Yeah. I love this question because it lets me go back a little bit to my Gage days. I loved my time at Gage, doing practice analytics, but also we were really dialed into what was happening in the economy, staying in front of that. And where we are in 2023, it's just been quite a strange year. However, I know that some of the research that I've done previously, we are truly experiencing what's called a soft landing. So there was a debate, are we going to enter a recession, or are we going to kind of like skirt that recession and just sort of land softly, and then you end up coming back out of the recession? That's really what's happening. And as you mentioned, I think the industry's down, but some practices are having a decent or even a good year as it compares. And a lot of that relates to different fluctuations that occurred. We all were high-fiving each other during the pandemic boom, right? How did this happen? We're crazy busy. It's 2021. Like, what is going on? But everybody knew that that couldn't last. It couldn't sustain. It wasn't reasonable. It was just a matter of what impact we were going to have. So I think the good news is the recession feel like probably not still, right? I don't think we're conclusive on that. But in the same token, everybody's been holding on to cash a little tighter. As business owners, as families, adult starts completely went down. Like during the pandemic boom, that was a big, huge spike up. Now, if we're going to be holding on to our money, I'm going to get my kid braces. I'm not going to worry about myself. But everything that goes down comes back up, right? And so I think that's where practices need to be really strategic. They need to be thinking about their teams, their systems, what technology are they interested in? Is it a little slower now? Because man, that's a great time versus when you're busting at the seams and you can't keep up. What technology is going to prepare us as a practice for the recovery? And how can we be best situated amongst ourselves and be it a bracket system, an aligner system, or DM or something similar, some other technology that helps that practice get to a place of efficiency where you can just hit the ground running. And I think, a last thing that I think is so important and sometimes feels counterintuitive is when we're down, we want to hold on to our money. And it's really actually the time to invest. It's the time to determine what are the right programs, if that be a digital marketing program, if that be we're going to do a bunch of community stuff because we do have that time right now, whatever it may be. Don't let the downtime cause you to go into a cave. Actually, this is the time to come out, make sure people know about who you are, and use the tools you have at your disposal that are differentiators to make the market aware. As much as the economy impacts all the different demographics, people still need healthcare. People still want braces and aligners, and there's plenty of people that are very comfortable and maybe just don't have the awareness that they've got the access.
Great, good points. And that's a trend that I've been using over the last 3-4 months is because the numbers are down. I've seen almost 100% across the board clients that increase their ad budget have seen the ROI on it, and it's not easy, not difficult to hit a really good ROI. Think about it, one patient's worth $6,000. So you spend a few $1,000 extra on ads. One patient, you're making a 300% ROI on it. Imagine if you sat down with your financial guy and he said, okay, give me, a couple $1,000 and I'm going to show you, 3x, 300% return. You're like, okay, here's all the money I have, so marketing is super important, and DM has got some great technology and tools to use to differentiate your practice. What's maybe one or two points you could give a practice that has dental monitoring of how they could use it in their marketing to differentiate themselves? Because, guys, when you do marketing, you have to think outside the box. And I have 5 letters to me that are gospel of marketing. It's my favorite radio station in the world, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And when you market yourself, it's not about you, doc. It's about your patients. You could crow to the crows come home how great you are. We've done this and this and this, but at the end of the day, what's in it for them? So what's maybe 1 or 2 bits of advice that you could give a practice and how to use just DM or the technology in their marketing to differentiate themselves in the industry and use that to potentially attract new patients?
I love this question because there's a million answers I have in my head right now.
Me too.
So a practice must know their market, right? They must know their community. I think that's first, knowing your audience as a marketer. Then comes your message around DM. For some markets, ride that AI wave, man. Like, that is super cool and it's so relevant and everybody's talking and thinking about it. Use that. That is so cool. We have the best tech. We're using AI. Not only is the doctor seeing you all the time, the AI is seeing you and reporting it to the doctor. It's a tech play, but it's a quality of care play. The other is in your market, maybe it's, there's probably 2 angles. It's all about convenience. It's all about patient experience, easy 2-way communications, having to travel to see us less, but what we're seeing you more. And then, I think the last thing is treatment efficiency and the quality that you're able to put out there.
And, one tip also to take that information Suzanne just gave us and put it back on the patients. Let them tell their friends how great you are and how it's changed their life, not you. So that's one thing to do is, and don't be afraid to ask. You ask 10 people who are in treatment or mom that's got kids using it. You ask 10 of them, 2 or 3, you'll say, yeah, sure, of course I'll do it. And there you go. And that's a marketing piece right there for you to use.
It is. And I mean, that time chair side that you do spend becomes true quality time, not just like, I've got 3 minutes, boom, 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 and I'm out of here. Like, I can spend a few minutes connecting with you, making you feel really cared for. That pays back in spades. It's hard to tie it down, right? But it pays back in spades. We know referrals is huge. And I just want to add real quick, Dean, we conducted a study of 2,000 patients globally. And we wanted to know, does this help? Is it annoying or is it not helping in your perception? What have you? 90% of patients felt it was useful in their treatment to be able to communicate and connect. And 86% of patients felt more reassured throughout treatment that they were getting better care. So it really, it's something we say, I think we can all connect to, but we also have some evidence that really supports what we're saying.
It is. And again, doc, make sure you have this in your pocket or your staff has this and just take it out and ask the patient, would you mind if I ask you a question or two, and we could use it on our social media, then obviously get their approval to do so with a photo release form. I just asked that question. Has this technology made a difference in your life? They're going to tell you and use it. So great thing. So I have 2 final questions for you, Suzanne. All right.
Okay.
All right. So now a little different. So you're going to be able. Unfortunately, you're being sent to a desert island, which is a good thing, but a bad thing as well. And you're putting 3 things in your bag. All right. You're putting in 1 book, 1 movie, and 1 song. That's it. But what book you taking? What movie are you watching? And what's 1 song that you can only hear, and that's it?
I have commitment issues, so I hate these questions because it's hard for me to commit to one thing. My favorite movie that I've seen more than any other movie is The Big Lebowski. So that's coming.
Dude.
The dude.
You gotta love the dude. After that, do you know how many White Russians I tried after watching that movie the first time? I got so sick.
I mean, the dude abides. Gosh, on the book, I am struggling. You're gonna have to cut this out so I can think it through. One book that this is shows my nerdy side, I guess. I don't know if I could live with this book forever, but it's called
The Immortality. For a year, so it's not forever.
Oh, it's just for a year. Okay, The Immortality Key. That is a really interesting book about sort of the history of religion and culture.
Okay,
and I find it quite fascinating.
And one song you're going to just hear over and over and over again that will never get old.
That's just impossible. That doesn't exist. I would, if I had to do this, I would study some amazing classical, because I think that's what I'd choose, but I can't choose one off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. And that's the last question here. I guess there's another commitment as well. I don't know about you, but I just saw on Twitter that an asteroid's hitting Earth in 3 hours. So now it's time for you to make your last meal.
Oh, my last meal. Oh, that's easy. Yeah, first of all, stay off Twitter. But my last meal is a rare filet, a steak.
Nice. Okay.
A blue cheese wedge.
Whoa.
And fries, because why not? And for dessert, probably peach cobbler.
Oh, nicely done. Well said. Perfect. All right, Suzanne, thanks so much for joining us. This was great, guys. Dental Monitoring is an awesome company. I've had Philippe on it. I've had Mark Van Wield on it. I've had many people in the DM community on my podcast. These guys are a great company, and I'm so happy Suzanne got a chance to join us. So moving forward, if somebody wants to get more information, learn more about dental monitoring, what's the best way for them to do so?
Dental-monitoring.com is the best way. You can also find us on Instagram, social media. If that's your preferred preference, you can reach out to us there. Thank you so much, Dean. It's been such a pleasure to be here, and I had a really fun time talking with you today.
My pleasure. Thanks so much. So, Suzanne, this was great. I really appreciate it. To everybody out there in podcast land, be safe, keep smiling, and remember, as I keep saying again, as the great Jerry Garcia said, nothing left to do but smile, smile, smile. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you.
OrthoMarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.